Well, that wasn't a great reception.
What?
Well, I think you're getting a little defensive because you're reading everything everybody's saying. Yeah,
I heard some boos.
No, there was cheers. It was a lot of hey.
Oh, okay.
Lane-o.
That's better. All right.
I don't know.
What do we got, AJ?
We got plenty of stuff for you, Coach. We got some stuff lined up right on deck.
Hey, Coach, we had to strategize for this, okay? Because I think this is a beautiful time for you to give your side of this whole story. Because obviously we've heard everybody else's side on what you're doing and how this is all going. So I think this is a great moment for you to kind of explain why and how you think we got here as a whole. I will tell you, to represent the people who are pissed off, though, one of the boys, every answer you give, will be saying something negative immediately afterwards, like, boo, or you suck, or something like that, because they are representing somebody who hates you, okay? You just need to, in the essence of fairness. Now, I would like to let you know, thank you for coming in the middle of this time. I know you're in the middle of training camp trying to get a football team together, and obviously the block is very hot with everything happening at LSU Tiger and college football as a whole. Can you tell me how you think we got here with the 5-for-5 injunction in Baton Rouge, and now guys that are in NFL training camps are now playing back in college? Can you explain why and how you think we got here, Coach, from literally the epicenter of the entire conversation?
Okay, that's a lot.
Yes, kind of floor is yours, Lane.
Yeah, and it's like a road game. We're going to get booed here by how we perform. I like that.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yes, exactly.
You're preparing for the road game in the season, SEC. I like it. Here we go. Okay. You know, these athletes, it's not just football. Okay, this is a lot of sports, and it's not one of these court orders where they go and get for one player. You know, this is over 100 athletes in multiple court orders in multiple states where judges have said that just this particular class should have been 5-for-5. From here on out, everyone gets, to sum it up, everyone gets 5 years from here on out. These players in all sports were supposed to get 5-for-5. They did not. So judges have found that the NCAA wronged them and they should have 5 years to play. Again, this is all sports. You have softball players that have left that went to summer pro leagues that are in this court order that are allowed to come back. And so in that, these players that won this ability to have the last fifth year, which has happened a lot as we think about all the court orders and injunctions over time. Usually they're specific for one player that allows them a fifth or even a sixth year, as significant players have gotten in the last few years. And so with that, they were allowed an entry into the portal so they could go somewhere, even though many people say they're not transfers because they haven't been at a school for 7-8 months. And so when that happened, that allowed coaches around the country to recruit these players, and a lot of us did. And I said to our staff, I said, whoever the first player commits to is going to be the poster child for this, for following this injunction. And so, you know, the player chose us, and a lot of people were recruiting him. A lot of people were offering him a lot of money, and he decided to come play for us. And so, you know, we were happy, but I realized this was going to come with it too.
Boo! Okay, we'll leave that for another time because you just explained a lot of things there and how you're referencing other injunctions and how they've been weaponized and used, how other sports are also utilizing this. And I think one thing you mentioned in there that should be clarified, because I don't think it has been reported because your name has been attached to it, just like there's a Lane Kiffin rule now on how and when coaches can leave because we're in this new era, this new time with free agency and roster building and what it is. You're obviously in the middle of that. You saying to your staff, hey, whoever's the first one to do this is going to be the one that's going to get attacked. I guess we all should have known, and you all knew it was going to be you. That's what I'm learning about college football, is you are going to be the one that's in the middle of it because Blue's not happy about it at all.
Yeah,
okay, Blue's not happy about this at all. He's a little bit upset about the state of college sports right now and wants that thing to get figured out. But your name being attached to it obviously gets it even bigger. But it also seems like LSU. Blue, enough, please. We're talking to Lane Kiffin about college sports right now. Okay, Lane, it feels like, you said there was other coaches that were recruiting these guys as well. I don't think that's really been talked about. All that's ever been talked about is that you are benefiting from this, and LSU is benefiting from this, and the injunction was in Baton Rouge, so everybody just assumes, like, yeah, this was something that was literally set up and designed to benefit you. What you're saying is there's many other schools looking at these guys, you just so happen to be winning the recruiting right now, and is that how you are addressing it, as they're either playing for us or they're playing for somebody else?
Yeah, so in there, a couple of things you brought up. that that an injunction in Baton Rouge where a court order was issued to allow these players. There's court orders in South Carolina, Georgia, California, Kentucky, all over the country issuing the same thing for these kids. And so we followed those, as many coaches did. Like I said, I told our staff, whoever the kid chooses, the first kid chooses will be the poster child school, not the first to recruit. There's all kinds of schools that recruited him. Ask Drew Rosenhaus, his agent, how many schools called and offered him a lot to come there, including our conference and including his previous school. But he chose us. And so I said, hey, when he decided to choose us, I said, just get ready, guys. This is going to come. This will be Lane Kiffin, LSU, doing something that nobody else is doing. And there's a number of kids that have committed to schools that have been in mini camps, been in different camps, been cut. This guy was just happened to be the poster child of one that was just getting cut at the time coming here.
Well, he's also a first-team All-SEC, potential All-American, and we saw some highlights of him playing with an NFL uniform, which is abnormal. Last question from me, Lane, before the boys and AJ have one for you. How do you feel about it? Is your take on it just like, if this is what the rules are, I have to do what I have to do? Is that your view on it? Or, because I've heard some other people come out, like the Big Ten has come out, the commissioner, and said, like, if you go to the NFL, you can't play in college. Allegedly, there's SEC and ACC meetings happening about the same thing. For you, your mindset is just like, these are the rules. What do you expect from me? My ass is going to get fired. I'm expected to win. Like, how do you kind of view it as a guy who's been around football a long time and can probably understand a lot of people saying this is abnormal for our sport and something we never thought would happen?
Yeah, there's a lot of parts of it that I don't like within that. I don't think professionals should come back to college sports and college football particularly. But in this instance, this is not professionals that have gone played seasons or just, randomly file an injunction in a state to become eligible. This is part of a specific class that was ruled wrong by the NCAA that was supposed to be 5 for 5. So again, there's a lot of information on this that's not necessarily out there, that over 100 athletes in multiple sports were cleared and said, you can go play, whether you signed pro contracts or not, whether you participated in training camps or mini camps, you are allowed to play. And that is the court order. And so I think in that, as you think back to all the different court orders of great players that were granted, whether that was Diego Pavia or now Trinidad for a 6-year, we followed all those. All court orders have been followed. So I think you're going to get in a really interesting situation if now, as a conference, you start to say, well, we're not going to follow this court order that's been issued. And we're going to say that these kids that the court says can go anywhere, we're going to say, no, you can't. That's some issues there, Pat.
Lane saying, you're setting precedent right now and picking and choosing which ones you like, which ones you don't like. That's going to be a fascinating story as you set a precedent here against.
Doesn't work like that, Pat. You can't decide, hey, I like that injunction. I don't like that one. Like that player I kind of like, and I like the way that they got him eligible. And so we're going to follow those rules, but not these. That really doesn't work that way.
AJ has a
and
question.
Again, on these guys, just for this particular class of group, these aren't pros that have been playing in the NFL that all of a sudden their career was over and just like, hey, I just want to go back. These guys were not told that they had 5 years in December, January when they made their decision. And these athletes all around the country in the different sports would have stayed for their 5th year. And they weren't told that, and then found out later on they were supposed to be told that. So the judge said, hey, you have 5 years. And that's all they're doing is protecting their families and making the best decisions for them.
AJ has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, strictly just from a football perspective for a player, I was thinking if I put myself in their shoes and I got to go, I used the term like an internship, and I got to spend 2 or 3 months with an NFL team. I guess what can that do for a player? I would imagine for myself, if I got to go compete in the NFL for a little bit and throughout the preseason and training camp, I can come back to college with a bunch of new tools in my tool belt, as a lot of coaches like to say. Yeah. But I just think strictly as a football player, how can this help guys for this 1 year, obviously?
Yeah, I think something interesting in this is they come back as in this particular situation is like they got to go to the real world and see how hard it is, and it's not everything that they thought. And they're able to help the younger players to say, hey, when these coaches tell you you need to do these things to get ready, and when you go on and you're in a camp at the next level, you got to do everything. You got to be on time to things. You get fined. And so I like that they experienced the real world that we talked to them about, and now they get to come back and help the kids because they've seen the other side.
Let's talk about football a little bit because you are transfer portal king. I believe you said that going to LSU, and then you ended up actually having that take place. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Coach, a little different this year since you are switching schools. A little more transfers this year than you normally bring in. How's it been in camp? How hard is it to get so many different guys? I looked at your two deep. I tried counting it, and who knows if it's official or not. I think it was like 23 guys in the two deep are from the transfer portal. How hard is it to get your culture and everything set during camp with so many new faces that haven't played together before?
Yeah, that takes a long time, and that's something that we pack day one when we get here. Culture and changing things to fit how we do things. We're really unique. We're really different in how we do things in our whole program. And so as kids come in, they learn that. I think certain kids choose us too in their recruiting process, because they hear how we are. And so it's been really fun. It's been really exciting to be here. And on those new kids coming in, another misinformation on that as they come in and they come into a team, like we've told our team, hey, my job is to be in a relentless pursuit of competitive greatness for you as a team. And so if we have a chance to bring players in to help you win as a team, we're going to do that. And this isn't a situation where, people say, oh, well, then these other kids get their spot taken and cut. Remember, there's all kinds of things. Some teams are short and don't have a full roster. If you've had season-ending injuries in the spring or fall, you get to replace those numbers, and the other kids still stay on scholarship and have a spot. So, again, misinformation that other kids are going to suffer because of these kids coming back.
I like that you're saying, in our particular case, what's being said, not accurate. Others, potentially, but there is certain things that are written into rules and who's eligible, who's not eligible at certain times. I like the injury one. I didn't know that opened up a roster space. I guess it's like an IR that happens for college football rosters, just like the NFL has. Now, you were able to get a lot of great players. And it feels like the moxie and the swag and the culture down there at LSU is all behind you, from what I've been kind of hearing. I mean, Booger this morning was on TV with an LSU helmet right over his shoulder, and after Paul Feinbaum said, Lane Kiffin is effectively just saying, to hell with football. I mean, he's saying football doesn't matter, going crazy about it. And then, Booger goes, hey, if these are the rules, what are we doing here? Like, what do you want him to do? He wants to go get it. I feel like LSU very behind you. You recruiting, you do very well getting people comfortable to come play for your team. That's fascinating because since we've gotten into college, you've been somebody that people love to kind of break down and attack. I'd say Connor has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Lane, and we watched your documentary last year, so I feel like we do kind of know a general answer to this question. But do you sort of relish in the fact that you have been labeled like the villain, the bad guy of college football? Is that something that you understand, or is it something that you also don't really get because you're not the one, handing out these injunctions and rules and making all these things basically how they're supposed to be in college football? Or is that one of those like, you know what, yeah, screw it, I am the bad guy and we're just going to go out and win football games?
Yeah, I don't worry too much about that. I think as you talk about villains, sometimes the difference between the hero and the villain isn't very far apart, and it changes very often. I see your wrestling stuff there, so I referred to Hulk Hogan before.
Hell yeah, brother.
A villain, then a hero, then a villain, then a hero again, and then a villain. So, it happens sometimes. And, when you're trying to do things at the highest level, a lot of times people want you to apologize for what you're doing when you're chasing greatness. And that's what we do here as a program. That's how we run it. And our players know that. And I think our fans and administration, wherever been, they love it when you're there. And so they understand that you're doing the best for their program at the time so that they can win and they can have everything that they want and they're wanting to have on Saturdays.
Okay, so let's assume that happens and your team is remarkable this year. Cannot wait for Baton Rouge to be upside down. I haven't really had a chance to be a part of a college football season with LSU in real conversation, real relevance. Going to be spectacular next Saturday. On that, now you talk about the administration loving you when you're there. Did you hear about the FBI dogs? Did you hear about this? Did you hear they ran some dogs through there? Did you have dog sniffer beaters on any of these recording devices you left around?
Yeah, I didn't. Someone sent that to me yesterday. So Walker Jones, texting me to remind me that was 5 months ago when he did the interview. But people just love to happen to bring it up on the day when a player from Ole Miss that went to the NFL that goes to LSU. Wonder how that happened.
Yeah, well, it feels like you are big business, brother. And talking about you is just that. Can't wait to see you on the field. D-Butt has last question for you about football.
Yeah, Lane, you always get great production from your quarterbacks. I just want to ask you about your quarterback this year, Sam Levitt. If you are going to be great, it's going to start with that quarterback. What have you been most impressed by throughout training camp?
Sam's competitiveness. He battled back from an injury and missed a lot of spring because of it. He's been great this fall. He's had great scrimmages, command of the offense, the way that he throws the ball, his maturity, and his focus on being great. And he's got a chip on his shoulder. He's really got a chip inside of him to prove some people wrong in some different things and prove he's the best out there. So we're just putting the weapons around him. So some people said yesterday, is Lane Kiffin the happiest guy with the acquisition that they got on offense? I said, Sam's the happiest guy in the country today.
I can't wait to watch what you do with them. Congratulations on being the topic of conversation every day, everywhere, about everything. This does feel like a very abnormal and unusual thing to see some NFL guys get back in there. This is the only time this can happen. This is the only time this can ever happen, right?
This is the only time this has happened where they have won this injunction where they can go play. And I think whether you consider them pros or not, versus, okay, some had some mini camps, some have some training camp. They got this decision. They elected to go into this when they found out they were 5 for 5. That was before they were cut. So this whole thing that, it's just because they're cut, now they're trying to find a way back. This was done a long time ago that they entered this.
We appreciate you, man. Good luck out there. Thanks for what you do for sport, brother. You keep it alive. Ladies and gentlemen, head coach at LSU, Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.